Super traditional AKs, highly modernized AKs. Where do I fall? What's my preference? Do I like one or the other? Am I somewhere in between? I'm going to come at you with a slightly different perspective on it that I think a lot of guys share. Hopefully you get some entertainment value out of this and maybe shed some light on some different perspectives, because that seems to be where a lot of people clash on Facebook forums, AK files, all over the place. Traditionalists versus anyone that would dare put an AR buffer tube on an AK. So let's go ahead and get started right after this. To me, this is a very attractive traditional looking AK. We're talking a black finish, really nice looking surplus wood, Romanian blonde refinished stock. So we got a lot of blonde, a lot of red in the grain. We have a really nice Romanian Bakelite pistol grip here. And we actually have Polish handguards, upper and lower Polish handguards. I thought that the blonde Romanian stock with the red grain matched my really nice hand-picked Polish handguards. I actually had to find these at Knob Creek. Found a guy that had some really cool surplus, and these were some of the nicest handguards that he had that weren't refinished, and they're really not beat up, which is cool. This is beautiful to me. This is really nice. The only thing that has been upgraded on this gun is the trigger, but from a distance you can't tell. This is beautiful, and shooting this is actually really nice. So, you know, what's cool about this, you can still affix a bayonet, a nice surplus bayonet, so that's cool. That's a really good bonus to traditional guns. Steel mags, Bakelite mags look awesome in traditional guns. Just a really good representation of what makes AKs so handsome in their stock form. I hear from a lot of people that are really into ARs or maybe some other guns. They never bought into AKs because of how they look. It's a physical dissatisfaction for these people. They don't like AKs in this form because they think they look ugly. I know I'm not the only one that hears that from people. Some people just think AKs are not attractive guns. For you to like, you know, old American surplus, you know, M1 Garands, M1As, stuff like that, and not get down on AKs. I mean, it's wood and steel, and it's such a attractive shape. It's very cool. I mean, let's totally forget how reliable and awesome these things are to shoot. That is a beautiful shape right there. That is gorgeous, and the wood just really sets it off. So I absolutely love traditional guns. I love that I can use bayonets. If I want to LARP and use surplus mag pouches, surplus chest rigs, surplus clothing, looks really good with a traditional gun. It's going to look a little out of place with a modern gun. So let's move on to something completely different. Let's go to a very highly tuned, modern, I'm going to keep saying that word, modern, AK, and we'll take a look at some of the massive differences. What we have here is an Arsenal SLR 107FR, at least it used to be. What have we done to this? Well, we've had gunsmithing done. That's probably the most drastic change. So the barrel has been chopped, the front sight post is gone. We have a combo block now, so the front sight has been integrated into our gas block. This thing has the ability to mount a suppressor. We have tunable gas for that suppressor. We have a very modern way to adapt optics to this thing via a SaberWorks KOP, and we are rocking a Trijicon SRO. This gun actually has 3 ways to mount optics. We have the KOP, we have the railed Ultimac gas tube, that is a great addition, and we also have the factory side mount for like RS Regulate or surplus optics. 3 ways. This gun already, with all those different ways to mount optics, is very modular, like you could say an AR-15, but a lot of different ways to do it. We've upgraded the safety. We've upgraded the trigger. We've upgraded the grip. We already said it before, but the gas system is new from K&S. It's an adjustable gas system, which works great with that can. A fully aluminum RS Regulate lower handguard with M-LOK, allowing us to add vertical grips, hand stops, grip panels, rubber grip panels, and this one even allows you to keep the factory, you can see it in there, the heat shield out of a factory lower handguard. All different types of guns are adapting SIG stocks. They're basically the folding mech to their gun, where you have access to all these different kinds of stocks that fit to these quite a few companies are making stocks for SIG folding mechs that would even fit on like an MCX or an MPX. So a huge aftermarket for my stock. I can run different types of cans. I can run different types of optics, basically any optic I want at this point. And to top it all off, it's got a cool paint job. Cool, man. I definitely think there's a tasteful way to modify your AK where it not only works really, really well for you, but it can look really good. To me, this is a good looking, handsome gun. Which one's my favorite? Traditional, what you saw before, or modernized? Neither. Neither of these are my favorite, but I want to show you what is. Another Arsenal SLR 107FR, no gunsmithing. We still have our factory barrel length, our factory muzzle device on those 24mm threads, and it starts to get a little funky back here. We've actually got a Romanian dong on this thing. This would have had just a standard palm swell lower handguard. Full length dongs just look awesome. This is a nice blonde dong. These are kind of hard to find. Not only does the gun look traditional, the paint job is meant to look, traditional, but really give us a lot more out of that coating, a lot more protection than the factory protection ever would. These things don't come with the best factory finish. Now it's got a really good finish that honestly looks really cool with wood. We have the enhanced safety that also blends in really good. Krebs did a really good job of making these safety levers look pretty stock. You'd still have that paddle on the side to modernize the way that you would run this thing, but it still looks like it came on the gun, so it's really cool. Of course, we have that ALG trigger. It's kind of nice that we don't have a pin and weld job on this gun, because if I want it to look factory, I could put my factory 74 style device on. If you know AKs, you know switching out muzzle devices is super easy. They're just held on by a detent, spin right off. If I want to go to the range or a competition or something and I want a little less recoil, I'm just going to bring another muzzle device, take this off, put this on, takes 60 seconds. Bang, 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 do my thing, feels good when I shoot, put my factory device back on, and let's get that traditional look again. We have a modern red dot on this thing using the factory side rail via an RS Regulate mount. You know how we just talked about the muzzle device, right? If we want to go shoot a match or whatever, we want to kind of tune it a little bit. 60 seconds, we have a modern muzzle device on. 2 seconds, we swivel on our RS Regulate optic mount, boom, on off. I've just greatly enhanced my hit probability and my speed by putting a really nice red dot on this thing in a matter of seconds on a pretty traditional looking AK. Now we have this really gorgeous Polish Bakelite grip. It's called a Polish Fatty. But what's cool about them, they call them the Fatty because they're a little bit fatter than the majority of AK grips out there. So not only are you getting a really good looking grip that looks good with the mag, looks good with the wood, feels great. Just a really nice hand filling grip, just awesome. So you've added a little bit of capability, still looks good. And we are using the factory triangle folder. I think this is hands down one of the best stocks to ever come out for a factory AK. So the point I'm getting at, this looks really factory. We're using a lot of surplus parts, but we're still enhancing the way that it would run for us. I can still swap out muzzle devices at any given time. I can put on modern optics in a matter of seconds, and I could go right back to stock. The safety you don't really notice, the trigger you don't really notice from the naked eye unless it's kind of pointed out to you. This is really what I like. Modern touches on a gun that looks old school. I friggin' love that, man. I think it is such a cool way to bring both worlds together. It's like an old hot rod, right? Beautiful body on the outside. Maybe you put like a nice modern fuel injected V8 with modern suspension, maybe some modern interior, but from the outside, looks old and classy and super dope. Drives like a more modern car. This is a Romanian kit build. Very nice Romanian kit build. This is actually built by Definitive Arms. What do they call this? The D4763R, so I'm guessing these were made from Romy 63 kits. Pretty cool. Trunnion is date stamped 1976. Looks like an all parts matching kit. American barrel. Now don't scoff at that. This gun is the most accurate AK that I own out of all of these AKs that you've seen on my channel with factory barrels. Factory stock, straight out of the kit. Factory grip. the dong and the upper handguard all out of the kit. We've just trimmed that dong to make our mag changes much more doable. It has that really cool gray parkerized finish, like that really dull gray finish that just looks so good on like Romanian AKs. There's a ton of Romanian AKs in this country, and a lot of them have that parkerized finish, and it just looks awesome. Modern features, right? This gun has a chemo muzzle brake. I can put a suppressor on this thing. This has a tunable gas system. You never really know that it had that from the outside, so it's kind of a cool sleeper thing. This does have an enhanced recoil spring. It's like plus 5% rebound strength. I've noticed a little bit of a difference, but it's there, and it's something that you can't see, so it just adds to that sleeper aspect of the gun. Safety's original, but it has been smoothed out immensely. It's great feeling safety. ALG trigger, it's like sriracha sauce, put that shit on everything, man. So this is a gun that looks maybe a little stanky on the outside. That muzzle brake kills recoil. I got a single stage 2-pound trigger for really fast firing. The safety's butter smooth. I can tune the gas, I can suppress it. And again, guys, within a couple seconds, I can put on an optic. This old gun has a sweet little RMR on it. That is just awesome. We're running that factory stock. We've wrapped it up with some tape to add a little bit of cushion and traction for our cheek. Added some cushion on the factory grip, and what we have is a traditional-esque gun with modern features that shoots really, really great, and to me, is very attractive. Those are cool, but I want to show you, to me, like the ultimate AK that I own that has quite a bit of modern features while still looking old school. It's just the cream of the crop, man, and to me is a sweet spot in between traditional and modern. Let's go ahead and pull it out now. It's the Draco, y'all. Looks a little different from the last time that you saw it, and I've got the dreaded wire stock that everyone hates on. If I showed up to a gun range and I hopped out of my truck with this, okay, the average Joe would be like, oh, okay, looks like a Draco with wood and a wire folder, and looks like you threw a red dot on it. Probably wouldn't notice a lot of the other stuff going on this thing that really makes it just as good a shooter as that other modern AK that you saw, but to me just looks so much better. I can put a can on this thing. The gas has been tuned for that can, so I can shoot it suppressed and non-suppressed. I have an Ultimac here under the railed gas tube with a red dot mounted on, but this has also received a side mount. You won't find these on Dracos. I've got the side rail, so theoretically I have 2 different ways to mount optics now. 2 completely different ways to mount them, which opens me up to a wide array of modern optics. Got that wood on there, right? This is a Russian lower handguard, and you can tell it's Russian because of just the way that the palm swell looks, and a dead giveaway is that serial number stamped on the side. Their handguards would have been serialized to the guns. We have a Russian red pistol grip, a little battle worn. The wood up front's a little battle worn, and that paint job has been made to look faded and battle worn, but it is a modern Cerakote job that will last so long. It can go through many, many heat cycles without bubbling and flaking off. The bolt and the carrier are both hard chrome plated, which means it takes a lot for that carbon to actually stick to them. No matter how much you shoot, no matter how long you go without cleaning it, it almost wipes completely off. I mean, you don't have to scrub on it much, it just wipes right off. So this is kind of cool because a lot of you guys with ARs, you're going out buying like nickel boron bolts, tin coated bolts. Back in the day, they were chrome plating them to keep that carbon buildup from sticking. Well, this gun has that. It's kind of a modern feature, and it's pretty sweet, but it looks traditional. The safety has been left alone because it has been made to be buttery smooth. Yes, it's got the ALG trigger. This one feels really, really nice. Hammer face has been polished, which makes the action really, really smooth, and it's a fast shooter, very flat shooter too. Old Romanian wire folder. There's 2 different ways to buy these. They have push buttons. If you get the lever, your wire is really centered to the mechanism. Bit nicer in my opinion. Don't let anyone tell you that these things aren't that comfortable. I mean, I've grown to love them. I happen to think that they're actually perfectly comfortable. And here's what you get out of them. Right side folding, so if you do have an optic here, you can fold it and still stow it. I love folding stocks because I'm always going to the range with several guns and I can fit them all in my gun case that way. It's just nice. Deploys super easy, just like that. Very, very nice. It's got a little rubber bumper, so even if it ever does bump the receiver, which this one does not, it's not gonna scuff your gun. It is scalloped on the rear to give you some really nice grip into that shoulder pocket. Something that no one really talks about on these wire folders is the sling loop. Look at the placement. If you ask me what kind of sling I use, I like to use a 2-point sling. With AKs, with factory stocks, usually your sling mount is all the way over here on the back of the stock, like usually on the bottom or on the side. It's a really awkward place to have a modern 2-point sling mounted if you're really trying to do like some modern tactics with it or defensive shooting. So both of your sling points are here and here. That is a great place to have a modern sling. No one really talks about that with these, but it does give you an awesome place to mount your sling. Love that. So to me, this is as good as it gets. This is my favorite AK. I like to be right in the middle. Traditional AKs are awesome. Modernized AKs are really awesome. But if I had to pick, I want my gun to look good and shoot good. I think traditional AKs look better. I think modern AKs 100% shoot better. I want to be right in the middle. It's not just two sides of this camp. There's not just the traditionalist and the guys that don't care about tradition and they want to modernize it. I like it all. Obviously, I have a little bit of everything. We've even got guns with crazy paint jobs that some people just cannot get behind. And I totally get it. But you do you, boo-boo. You do what makes you happy. Guys, go follow us on Instagram. Go look up some of these awesome other pages. Bandito Bill's got a great page for modern AKs. Martin Lopez Serra, Papi Martin, you know who he is. Great page for modern AKs and traditional. He's got a really good page for both sides of the camp. Awesome collection. Very close to factory, traditional, nice, rare AKs. And some AKs that he's probably got $3,000 or $4,000 invested in with really nice aftermarket features and a lot of high quality gunsmithing and Cerakoting done. It's really cool to see where you can buy an AK to where it can end up with a lot of time and money. Let's just call it what it is. They're all fun to shoot. They're all fun to shoot at matches. They're all fun to take to carbine classes, so enjoy them all, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Leave us a like, leave us a comment. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here, and we'll see you next time.